singing swell tonight, and my brain is rolling out of my head. My whole life is so damn great, and you're grating on my nerves again. So I call up the doctor.
Alright there everyone, hope you're all doing okay. Today I thought I'd take a look at a figure from a line I've not looked at before. This is Spawn from McFarlane Toys Mortal Kombat 11 line. Let's get down to it, shall we? I ordered this figure from the fine fellows over at Comics and Cocktails. I always like to use these guys nowadays. They have great service, free shipping in the UK, and I get things in relatively cheap. I really can't recommend these guys enough. They're brilliant and they're relatively local to me. Well, as local as things get nowadays. But yeah, highly recommend them. Go check them out. Top blokes. This figure isn't one I was originally going to get, but for years now, since I was a little kid-ish, I've always wanted a really good Spawn figure. I grew up at the time when he was popular, so actually, but first things first. Let me just go into the background of Spawn a little bit to those who don't know. Let's be fair though, most of you do, but just to be on the safe side, let's just take a little journey down memory lane, shall we? Okay, so it's the early 90s and Spider-Man is selling okay. It is the 90s, Spider-Man's in a kind of a heyday, and on comes new up-and-coming artist-ish, Todd McFarlane. And he takes over the title and his art is brilliant. Now, fast forward a few more years, Todd and a couple of other artists decide that, well, they really want to own the things they're drawing, so they leave their respective companies and form something new. They form Image Comics, a staple of the 90s really for comic book collectors. And Todd McFarlane's first creation, well, it's Spawn. Spawn is Al Simmons. It's a very 90s thing, but he's a soldier named Al Simmons who dies while on a covert mission, goes to hell, sells his soul to the devil, sells his soul to Malbolgia, a devilish individual. He comes back to Earth as, a Hellspawn, one of Hell's soldiers. And the story follows him sort of coming to terms with the powers, trying to remember his past, because a lot of it's been deleted. Just go out and read it. But needless to say, Spawn sold really well back in the day. It was actually a bit of a phenomenon. That's it. He was great, and he was absolutely in no way can I say he was a rip-off of Spider-Man and Venom? Well, yeah, I can. Yeah, he was definitely a semi-rip-off of the two. From the popularity of Spawn and Image Comics, Todd McFarlane got to do something he really wanted to do for a long time and produce toys. And I'm not going to go into the story of that right this moment. If you want to know what that sort of whole shebang was, go check out Comic Pop's back issues. They do one on Spawn's early appearance, and they go more into sort of like where the toy line came, the original McFarlane Toys, Spawn toys came from, what McFarlane was doing. It's actually a great video. It's a great channel actually. Go check them out. Brilliant. But I was like, oh yeah, okay. My experience of Spawn was originally the live action movie, and I am not afraid to admit it is pants. It is schlock. It is awful, and I still love it. It was a movie. I saw the trailer for it. We'll go to see another film. I can't remember what that film was, but I remember the trailer for Spawn vividly, and it was like, yep, I want to go see this movie, and I did. And I, as a X-year-old teenager, I think. Yeah, I must have been early teenager, maybe. Yeah, early teenager. I love the film. And yeah, it doesn't hold up, but that was my first experience of Spawn. Now, my first real love interest with Spawn was when I got my Dreamcast. Yes, I bought a Dreamcast. If I buy a games console, it is likely to die. I bought a GameCube, a PS Vita, a Dreamcast. These are all consoles that, they need to make a deal with the devil themselves. But anyway, Dreamcast, Spawn in the Demon's Hand. Oh God, that was a brilliant game. I remember it being a brilliant game. It's probably actually a naff game, but I loved it. I completed it. It was a third-person arcade shoot 'em up, beat 'em up, just this arena-style fighting game. It was actually really well done. It was steeped in Spawn lore. I learned more from that game than I ever did from trying to read the comic books, because back then I struggled to find Spawn comics, but I knew from playing that game, I knew who Vacillator, Violator, Vindicator, Overkill, Brimstone, Cygor, the Freak, all these characters, I knew them all from that game, and I loved it. And yeah, I guess that's kind of where my desire to get this figure came from, because, you know, in 20... I can't remember actually, it might have been started this year, I'm going to say you started this year, so in 2020, NetherRealm released Mortal Kombat 11, and with that, because Todd McFarlane was making the toy line for Mortal Kombat 11, they introduced Spawn in as a extra DLC character, and that's who this figure is based on, and I'm really glad about that, because it's like 99% the classic Spawn design, but a bit more realistic, and in a way kind of tweaks that memory I have of the live action suit. It's actually a really great amalgamation of the comic book look and the live action look, and something that I really love seeing in the game, and love even more as this figure. So let's get this sorted out right away. I love this figure. It is brilliant. It's got wonderful sculpt, wonderful paint, and nearly perfect articulation. Now see, one problem McFarlane Toys seems to have is, when they do the articulation schemes, they forget about the upper thigh joint. That joint there, the swivel. Now, you might see this figure has an upper thigh swivel, and there's a reason for that. The way McFarlane does their toys, the upper thigh is a separate piece from the inner joint, and there is actually a joint in there to rotate the thigh, but it doesn't work because of the sculpt. Now, what some brilliant fellow found out is, and I followed the tutorial online, it's actually, if you Google it or look it up on YouTube, you'll find it. You remove the leg using the hot water method, and you get a very thin, very strong blade. You can slice, and it's asked to do it very carefully, slice the top of the leg off and leave enough room for the peg to reconnect it. Look up a tutorial, they can explain it better than I can, but either way, I gave this figure that missing piece of articulation that it needed. Now that it has that, it's damn near perfect, I've got to say. It looks brilliant, it handles brilliantly. I really, really love this figure. Now, it comes with a few accessories. Well, okay, it comes with two, but I lost the one. It should come with a little stand, which you'll see it's using a stand from my only other McFarlane figure I bought. And it should have a mace. Now, the mace it comes with is in reference to, in the game, Spawn has certain attacks where he summons weapons. Now, this figure, when it was originally released, came with the sword, and that was a short run. Then it was released again with a axe. Yet again, that was a short run. And then a third time it came out, this is the version I've got, but it comes with the club. And the club looks alright, it's sculpted with spawny details. It's an okay accessory. Personally, I'd rather it came with some guns, because like Spawn has always like traditionally used guns, because it was the 90s and the guns look cool. Like, I know there's other Spawn figures coming out, and I might track down some of the other McFarlane Toys figures that have guns, like the Dark Knight's Grim Knight, and get that to transplant weapons over. But apart from that, I really think this figure is as near perfect a Spawn figure as it's possible to get. Okay, so let's compare Spawn to some other figures in my collection, because I really want him to fit in well with them. Up first, quite appropriately, is Spider-Man. Now, this isn't a Todd McFarlane Spider-Man, this is the retro one, which is based more on the Steve Ditko design, but I think the two of them do look good together. There's a nice scaling between them, because Spawn's meant to be a tall fella, really. Here he is, appropriate enough again, with Venom. Yeah, you can kind of see the similarities between the two, but yeah, Venom's a slightly larger figure. These two still look great together. They both have symbiotes. Brilliant. Oh yeah, Spawn's costume is a symbiote too. Also, there's some slightly larger Marvel Legends. Here we have Spawn next to the Age of Apocalypse Wave Dark Beast. Interestingly, they both have articulated toes, so they're not seen in ages. Here's next to my Man the Man thing. He looks great. The two look brilliant together. I love the horror aesthetic. Also, here's Spawn next to the only other McFarlane Toys figure I own, the Batman Who Laughs. I did the same thing with hips on the Batman Who Laughs, and as a bit of trivia here, Batman Who Laughs also appears in Mortal Kombat 11 as a DLC skin for Noob Saibot. So yeah, the two of them look really great together, and yeah, I'm actually really impressed with McFarlane Toys. These are the only two I've got, and I get a feeling I'm going to have to get the next version of Spawn, which is a alternate skin colour version of him, like one of the other skins from the game, and it comes with the axe. So I might have to get him, I don't know. But, you know, as you can see, talking about Mortal Kombat, put these two figures together, they actually match up really well. There's an aesthetic carryover between the two that really works. I really like the look of the two. And yeah, I'm actually tempted to get some more. I might get some more of the Dark Knight's metal stuff, some more of the DC stuff. And actually, what I really like is the weapons are interchangeable as well. So I can give Spawn, like, the Batman Who Laughs weapons, and I think they kind of work slightly better on him. Just slightly, but yeah, really good. So, in summary, what do I think of Spawn? He's a brilliant figure, and I highly recommend him. Go get him. It'll probably be with my case, it'll be the start of a new collection from McFarlane Toys. Yay, my poor wallet. Anyway, folks, as always, stay safe, stay sane, and I'll see you next time. Ta-da!